What's up guys, my name's Brandon, and iOS 14 brings a ton of new features and changes to both the iPhone and the iPad, but chances are you only know about most of them, not all of them. And that's because Apple never tells us all of the new features and changes. That's kind of just for us to figure out. So in this video, I wanted to share more than 30 hidden features in iOS 14. And these are going to be lesser known features and changes. And my whole goal with this video is to show you at least one new feature that you did not know existed in this new software. So we have a lot to cover. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first one has to do with the new wind down and bedtime feature in iOS 14. So if you go into your clock and to alarm, you will see, of course, you have this section right here where it says sleep and wake up. This, of course, is where you change your bedtime and when you want to wake up. You have all these options down here as well. However, if we go to our edit sleep schedule right here, you will see that we have a couple of new things. We have wind down right here, and then we also have wind down shortcuts. And that is a great feature that I'm going to demonstrate right now. So if we go to the control center, you do also have a toggle in iOS 14 for bedtime. So if we just go ahead and toggle that on, go to our lock screen, you will see that we have a very dim, a very dark screen here that says sleep well, and it shows, our Apple Watch is charging and things like that, and when our alarm is set for. So this is a whole new UI, and of course the screen is very dark, which is great when you're trying to go to sleep, so it's not going to be bright at all. So also from here, you will see that we have a little button there that says shortcuts. If you tap on that, you can see here I have multiple shortcuts that I've set up that we can get to straight from the lock screen. So I can open music, open podcasts, open calendar, basically just things that I would maybe do before bed when I'm winding down. And if we go ahead and tap on edit and you go ahead and unlock the phone, this of course will take us to the section where we can delete or add shortcuts. And of course you can do that from here as well, just by going to wind down shortcuts, go to add another shortcut. And you can see here you have all these different shortcuts you can add to the wind down section on the lock screen, which is extremely convenient and extremely helpful for quickly accessing these different things. And if you go into options, you also have a lot of different things in here to configure as well. So I basically just wanted to show you the wind down shortcuts because I found them to be extremely helpful, and I don't really see a lot of people talking about that. And it's one of my favorite features in iOS 14. Another one of my favorite hidden features in iOS 14 is that you can actually see when somebody is typing straight from this list view right here without going into the conversation itself. So as you can see there, it says George is typing right now, and I didn't need to go into the conversation to see that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And also you'll notice up here at the top left, it says known. That's because I have filters on for messages. So if we go into our settings here and then go to messages and then scroll down until you see message filtering, unknown and spam, tap on that. And then you will see filter unknown senders. And it says sort messages from people who are not in your contacts into a separate list. And if we go back, you can see this is what it looks like right here. So we have all messages, known senders, so that's going to be people in your contacts, and then of course unknown senders, which are going to be people that are not in your contacts. Now also, you'll see down here that I have filtered by Truecaller, and this shows it even filters it even further, more advanced, by saying transactions, promotions, and junk. And of course, you do have to have something like the Truecaller application installed, but you can see here we also have SMS filtering on top of the built-in iOS filtering. So if you wanted to get really advanced with your filtering inside of messages, this is a great way to do it. And another thing I love in iOS 14 is that you can pin conversations so that people that you contact frequently will stay up top. Now, you guys probably know that you could just swipe over and add the pin conversations up there just like that. That's, an easy way to do it, but there's an even easier way. And all you have to do is simply take and drag and pull that conversation bubble up into the top right there. And then all of a sudden, as you can see, it's pinned to the top now. And if you want to quickly unpin it, you can do the same thing, just simply drag it down here and you can see it goes back into that list view. So pretty neat features there. And speaking of messages, now in iOS 14, you can send audio messages via Siri. So check this out. Send audio message to George. Hey man, what are you doing? And you can see you get the preview right there. Yes. And it sends just like that. So pretty neat little feature there to send audio messages very quickly. Another little cool hidden feature in iOS 14 is that if you want to quickly search for something inside of the music application, you can simply double tap on the search tab down at the bottom and it will bring up the keyboard automatically. That way you don't have to go to search and then also tap up here and then begin typing. So just a quick and easy way to search inside of the music application. And speaking of music, we also get a nice little hidden feature in iPadOS 14, and that's an easy way to put songs in playlists. So instead of having to tap and hold on it and then go to add to playlist and then select the playlist, you can now simply drag it over. So say I want to add Lowe's right here to the I don't know, party starter right there. And as you can see, it adds it to that playlist just like so. So just a much easier way to add songs to playlists on iPadOS 14. Now, one of the big new features in iOS 14 and watchOS 7 is the new hand washing feature, where basically the Apple Watch will detect when you're washing your hands and set a timer for 20 seconds to make sure that you wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. Now, there is a new feature here in iOS 14 as well, where you can actually set location-based alerts. So if we go into the Watch application and scroll all the way down until we get to hand washing, you'll see that we have hand washing reminders. And it says receive a notification if you haven't washed your hands within a few minutes of returning home. So basically, if you got home and you didn't wash your hands, or the Apple Watch didn't pick up that you washed your hands, you will get a notification, which is pretty neat. And especially in the times we're living in now, where it's super important to wash your hands, I think this is a great new feature here in iOS 14. Another cool feature in iOS 14 is that we now get battery optimization for the AirPods, and we also get low power alerts. So as you can see here, we get this pop-up right here that says optimize battery charging enabled, and this happens automatically. There's no toggle for this or anything. And it says to reduce battery aging, AirPods learns from your daily charging routine so they can wait to finish charging past 80% until you need to use them. So just like it is with the iPhone, we now have that with the AirPods, and you'll also get little alerts up at the top when your AirPods are running low on battery. When they're at like 20% or 10%, you will now get an alert for that, which is nice. The next feature is great if you want to have a clutter-free home screen and basically only have applications on your home screen that you use and care about. So I think everybody has applications that they download, just to have on their phone for the one time a year they use it or whatever. But now in iOS 14, you can actually have applications only appear in the app library and not on your home screen, cluttering everything up and having a billion pages of applications. So if we go into our settings and go to home screen, you'll see right here we have new app downloads, and I have mine set to app library only. So that means that when I download a new application from here on out, it will only add it to the app library. And if I deem that application, useful and I use all the time, I can simply come over here to the app library and tap and hold on it and, add to the home screen. So I'll get one that's not on the home screen already. So right here, and you can see add to home screen. So I could do that if I want to. If not, it will not clutter up my home screen and it will just live in the app library, which I find extremely useful. We also get a nice nested menu in iOS 14 if we go deep into the settings. So if we go deep into our settings here and then go through, all these different tabs right here, if we tap and hold on the back right here, you can see it shows us where we've been. It's kind of like breadcrumbs. It shows where we've been inside of settings, and we can simply, drop our finger on where we want to go back to. So instead of tapping that back button like 3 times to go back to the main page of settings, we could do it with one simple tap right there, and we're back to the main screen of settings. So that's another great little productivity hack here in iOS 14 to move faster inside of settings. We also now get the ability to add captions to photos in iOS 14. So we simply swipe up. As you can see right here, we get a little section there that says add a caption. If we tap on that, I'll just type in Tesla, for example, and tap on done. You can see there, now when I search Tesla, this will come up. So a lot of people may be wondering, why is it beneficial to have captions for photos? And I think mainly it's for searching. So if you wanted to find a photo later on, your phone may only recognize this as a car and not exactly what type of car it is. So you can add captions in there, and that will be really beneficial for searching for them later down the road. So now if I go to search, for example, and I search for Tesla, you can see there it comes up right away, and it's actually the only thing that comes up. So again, super beneficial to add captions now to photos in iOS 14. Another not so hidden feature anymore is the back tap feature in iOS 14. So this got a lot of press. It was a hidden feature within like the first week, but now everybody's covered back tap. But there's something I want to add on to this. So if we go into our settings, accessibility, go to touch, go down to the bottom, we have back tap. And basically this allows you to, double tap or triple tap on the back of your iPhone to invoke certain gestures or certain actions. As you can see here, when I go to triple tap, you can, invoke the app switcher, the home screen, you can mute your phone, take a screenshot, all these cool things. However, you can see there I have one set for double tap, and that's for Google Assistant. So you can actually set up Google Assistant to be kind of in place of Siri with this shortcut and with back tap. So now if I double tap the back of my phone, you can see there it goes to Google Assistant, and I can go ahead and start talking. So you can see there the Google Assistant responded even though I wasn't talking to her, but it opens up and you can say, your commands right away. So obviously Google Assistant, in my opinion, is better than Siri, so this is a pretty cool feature to have. Now, to set this up, you do need to set a simple shortcut inside of the Shortcuts application. So basically all it is just simply opening up the Google Assistant application. So of course, download it from the App Store and then just set a shortcut where literally the only thing is Open Assistant. And if you don't know how to do that, just simply tap on the plus up in the top right corner, go to Add Action, tap on Scripting, and then Open Application, and then choose the application right here. So Assistant, it's right there. Name the shortcut whatever you want, tap on Done, and there you go. Now, when you go back to the back tap settings right here, go to Double Tap, and then scroll all the way down to your shortcuts and they'll all show up right here. Just simply select the shortcut that you just made. Another cool hidden feature in iOS 14 is the ability to have a private Wi-Fi address. So if we go to our settings, go to Wi-Fi, and then tap on the little eye here on our Wi-Fi network, you can see down here we have private address, and it says using a private address helps reduce tracking of your iPhone and activity when on Wi-Fi. So if you want to do that, it will change your Wi-Fi address to not be your actual Wi-Fi address. And this is great for privacy as well. You will also get this privacy warning up here that says private Wi-Fi address is turned off for your network. Using a private address helps reduce tracking, blah, blah, blah. So it may say that as well. So maybe it doesn't work for certain, ISPs or certain routers, but that is a cool new feature there that you can have a private address in Wi-Fi in iOS 14. Now in iOS 14, we of course get the new widgets feature where we can add widgets to our home screen. We have the smart stack right here where basically if we add this widget, it will select certain applications that it thinks you're going to be using, and it will change to those applications or those widgets rather throughout the day, depending on what it thinks you will want to look at. However, did you guys know that you can have a custom shortcut or a custom smart stack rather, instead of just having, iOS detect what you want. So if you want a lot of things to be, in one widget, you can do that. So let's just say we have batteries right here. We want to add this widget right here to this stack of widgets that I already created. We already have a batteries one in there, but anyways, for the sake of this video, we're just going to add this to this stack right here. So if you have widgets that are the same size, you can stack them on top of each other and create a pretty much custom smart stack here that's curated by yourself and not auto-generated by iOS. So that's pretty cool. We can add another one in here. So let's do one that we don't have in there. So let's just say fitness. Let's go to the size that matches and then drag it over top. And you can see here, we have all these right here that we can just scroll through throughout the day whenever we want to. So that's pretty cool. Create custom stacks with widgets here in iOS 14. Now in iOS 14, one of the widgets we can choose from is Siri Suggestions. So if we go down and go to Siri Suggestions and we go to, let's just do this one right here. So let's just add this widget. And as you can see there, it adds these applications and it almost looks blended in like these are applications meant for the screen, which is pretty neat. However, and as you can see there, it just shifted them around to show, what we would maybe go into at this time. So I'm going into settings and assistant a lot. So it showed those two first. However, if you wanted to add another one to the screen, you can do that. And you can basically make a whole page of just simply Siri Suggestions. We can even add a third one right here, just so it adds a whole page for Siri Suggestions. And you can see there are duplicates right now, but when we click on Done, it will actually shift them around to make sure there are no duplicates on the page so that it really looks like a page that you curated yourself. But as you can see there, it shows all these applications and these are Siri Suggestions, but you would never really know it unless you tapped and hold, and then it shows you the widgets right there. So this is really cool, and you can basically have iOS make a home page for you based on the applications you use a lot and depending on the time of day that you use those applications. So this may be a cool page to have here, right before the app library or something like that. Another cool hidden feature in iOS 14 is that we can actually search our app library by the developer or the company of those applications. So for example, I have a lot of Google applications, so like Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets, and I can simply search for Google up here, and you can see it shows me even YouTube. It shows everything, even though Google is not even in the name of the application. iOS and the app library are smart enough to know that everything related to Google will show up here. So even like I said, YouTube, the Assistant, Google Translate, and Google Drive. So you could search by the company name to find applications in the app library as well, which is very handy. Another cool little hidden feature in iOS 14 is a quick and easy way to open an application that you search for in Spotlight Search. So for example, if we go down here and start typing out Safari, you can see that Safari comes up with just simply typing in SA. And if we tap on Go, it opens up Safari just like so. If we do it for something like, let's just say Google, we can even go to the Google website by simply just typing in GOO and then tapping on Go, and it opens that up right away without having to actually, tap up here to go to the application or to search Google or anything like that. So quick and easy way via Spotlight search here in iOS 14. Just make sure that you go to your Siri and search section and make sure that suggestions in search is enabled inside of your settings. That is how this operates. Another cool new change in iOS 14 is that you can now rename Bluetooth devices, and it's not just limited to Apple products. So if we go into our settings here and then go to Bluetooth, before you could only rename Apple products, but now you can rename any device. So for example, I'm gonna go ahead and put this shower speaker into pairing mode, and you can see there it says Brookstone floating. I'm gonna go ahead and connect to that and show you that I can rename this now. So I'm connected, as you could hear, and then you can see name right here, and we can actually change the name. So if I wanted to name it, shower speaker, I can go ahead and do that for much easier, figuring out what I'm connected to. So as you can see there, it changed to shower speaker. You cannot do that in iOS 13 or any previous version of iOS. You can only change the name of Apple products. Another great new feature in iOS 14, especially for those that are hearing impaired, is sound recognition. So if we go into our settings, go to accessibility, and then scroll down to the hearing section, you'll see we have sound recognition right here. And if we go to sounds, you can see here, Apple will actually detect when it hears some of these sounds and send you an alert. So if it hears like a fire alarm, a smoke alarm, if it hears your animal, maybe, meowing for food or your dog barking for food, it has household appliances, the doorbell, door knock, a baby crying, somebody shouting, all these things, it will send a notification to your device for if iOS detects, that it hears that. And there is also a control center toggle for this as well. As you can see, it's right here. If you tap on that, you can go ahead and turn on sound recognition, and you can enable it straight from there and disable it straight from there if you want to. Now, also in the control center, we have the hearing toggle right here. Now, that's not new in iOS 14. However, there is something that overlays over top of this toggle in the control center that is new. So if we go into the control center, you can see there, we have a little green check mark, and basically iOS telling us that our hearing levels are okay. And if you tap on that, you can see here it shows the headphone level that it's listening to. You have live listen feature right there if you want to turn that on or off. But you can see there it says that I'm listening to my music at an okay volume. And of course, it doesn't have to be just music. It could be like outdoor noises. If you're at work, if you work in construction or something like that, it could show you if your surroundings are being too loud on your ears or too hard on your ears. Now also, if we go into our settings and go to sounds and haptics, you'll see right here that we have headphone audio, reduce loud sounds. And you can set this to what is considered loud to you by decibel. So anywhere from 75 to 100 decibels, you could set that right there, which once again is just great for your ear health, your listening health. Another cool little hidden feature in iOS 14 is that we have a new color picker. So if we go ahead and take a screenshot right here, you'll see that we have a new color picker when we go ahead and tap on this. So that looks way better than it did in iOS 13 and previous versions. And you can also create custom colors right here. So if we go ahead and do that, it will create these custom colors that you can just simply tap on, so you don't have to go ahead and find that color again. If you want to customize it by the opacity and everything, just simply tap on the plus right there and it will create that color. And you can also delete these colors by simply tapping on it and deleting like so. So this whole new menu, this whole new UI is much better looking. You can also change this from grid to spectrum to sliders and get very specific with the type of colors that you choose here. And you also even get the option to add in a hex color number right there. Another great new feature that a lot of people are still, accidentally finding out about is that we can now play 4K videos inside of the YouTube application. So if we are on a 4K video, tap quality, and you can see there I can actually watch this video in full 4K now, whereas you could not do that in iOS 13. So now you're going to have a much better viewing experience on your iPhone or iPad in the YouTube application. We also have a couple of cool little hidden features in the weather app in iOS 14. So as you guys have probably done in the past, if you want to find, the weather, if you want to see what the weather's like for a destination that you're going to, like if you're traveling to somewhere and you want to see what the weather's like maybe before and while you're there, but maybe after you left, after your trip is over with, you don't really care about the weather there anymore. Well, now in iOS 14, you can actually check the weather of that location without actually adding it to your weather list. So for example, if I just type in Louisville, Kentucky, as you can see right here, it shows me the weather for Louisville, Kentucky. And now I get the option to add it to my weather or just simply cancel. And if I tap on cancel or just simply swipe down, as you can see there, I saw the weather and it didn't add it to my list. So it doesn't get, bogged down. Now also, new in iOS 14, a cool little hidden feature is that the weather application now pulls data from a much more precise location than just like Louisville or just, your city name. And now actually gets as precise as to the street you live on. And this is thanks to Apple acquiring the dark sky application, the great weather application. And if we go down to the bottom here, you'll see that it shows weather for Louisville, Kentucky, and you can open that in maps. However, if it is using like your precise location, my location, it will show your actual streets. Let me just show you that real quick. So we're on my location and it actually shows weather for, and it shows my specific street. So now it's actually pulling in the weather info from the precise location of my street and not just my entire city, which is very useful for getting more accurate readings for the weather. Now we also get quite a few new hidden features inside of the camera application here in iOS 14. So if we go ahead and open up our camera, you can see here I have the front-facing camera turned on. Now if I tap and hold on the volume up button, take a look at what happens. So I'm tapping and holding on that. You can see it's taking burst photos right there. If I let go, it stops taking the burst photos. Now if I hold on the volume down button, take a look at what happens. It starts taking a quick take video, and immediately when I let go, it stops recording just like that. So those are both brand new in iOS 14. Now you do need to enable these inside of settings for at least for the burst photos option there. So use volume up for burst, make sure that is enabled, but the volume down for quick take is just built in here in iOS 14. And we also have this feature right here for mirror front camera. So if you want your, front camera to be mirrored and look more like it actually looks in real life, you can go ahead and enable that. I know a lot of people have been asking for that for a long time. That was also a jailbreak tweak in previous versions of iOS. And then also in iOS 14, you could change the frame rate and the quality on older devices, not just the iPhone 11 anymore. So you can see here, I have the iPhone 7 Plus. I could change between 4K, 1080p, 30 FPS, 60 FPS just from tapping on these right here. No need to go into the settings application. Now you do need to have a setting enabled for this. If you go to settings and then go down to camera and then go to record video, make sure you have video format control turned on, and then you can go ahead and change those straight from the camera application, which is super useful, especially now that it's not just for the iPhone 11. And then the final new hidden feature in iOS 14 is that you can now zoom in on photos a lot more than you could in the past. So for example, I'm just gonna take this photo right here, and in the past, in previous versions of iOS, you would just simply double tap and that would zoom all the way in as much as you can on a photo. But now in iOS 14, as you can see, I double tapped, but look, I can still continue zooming in super far on this photo to get very, very close and very precise for what I want to see in this photo. So I didn't think this was useful at first, but this can be very useful in multiple different situations, and it just gives you a lot more flexibility, and it's great for, zooming in on people's faces if you want to make the memes and things like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. That's definitely a hidden feature in iOS 14 that Apple did not talk about, and I haven't seen a lot of people talking about either. So anyways, guys, there you have it. Those are more than 30 new hidden features and changes in iOS 14 that you may not have known about. Now, I know that you probably knew at least one of these features that I talked about in this video, but the whole point of this video, like I mentioned in the beginning, is just to show you at least one new feature and change that you didn't know about. So if I did that, I would appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up, and of course subscribe, because I will be making more hidden features videos in iOS 14 in the future. Also, let me know down in the comment below if you found any more hidden features in iOS 14, and I may talk about them in a future video and also credit you in that video as well. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.